Hello. In this episode, we'll see how to do KFold sample split with an example for default prediction. And what is a KFold sample split? Well, you have a sample and you want to use some of it for the training data and another for our test data on out of sample holdout set. Okay? And what if you want to repeat it in a way that you don't repeat the test sample? So that's where KFold sample split comes in. So you, for example, split the full sample into 5 bins and then rotate the first to second to the fifth, the bin as the test data and train the model 5 times, for example, in the sample. So how do you do that? So here's an example. So we will use the KFold from the sklearn library. And we will use the Kaggle default data that we have been using. So the default prediction. I'll load the data and read it in pandas. And you can, as usual, we have the test data and train data. If you're curious, the default data looks like this. We delete the first column, the serial index. And the next 3 columns are what we use for predictors, and the target variable is whether a form defaulted or not. Okay. So we split the sample, and here is the KFold. It's really simple. It's a KFold, this command, and then how many splits you want, whether you want to shuffle. And so here we have 5 bins. We divide in 5 bins, and we'll use a neural network. It's a sequential model with 3 input nodes and then 50 to 25 to 1 node. And the last one must be sigmoid. So we train with a binary cross entropy and look at the accuracy. We save the model weights for the initial weights so that when we repeat it, we use the same initial weights. So here is when we train it. So how do we recall each KFold split? Well, here the KF split command for the X does it conveniently for you. So it gets the train index and test index. So it returns the indices. And I'm reloading the initial weight. And then the X data for the train indices and the Y train indices and test indices, you can put it here. And then call the model fit as you would usually do, and then get the predicted values. And then we can compare the accuracy, for example, and accumulate and see how it works for each bin. All right, so here is when we run this. Okay, now it's done running. It's about 85% accuracy for this particular model. And you can see that it gives the individual 5, we divided in 5 KFold, 5-fold. So we get 5 actually results here. Okay, all right. It's not just limited to neural networks. You can use any model. So let's repeat that with a logit. Okay, so let's load the default data and repeat the same thing, get the X and Y variables and the KFold. And instead of the neural network model, you can just use the logistic regression from sklearn. And then do this fit for the logit and repeat the same thing. And it'll get you some results here too. Okay. So this is an example of how to divide the sample in K pieces, subsamples. So it's called KFold subsampling. Thank you for watching this episode.